So out of randomness, I was watching A Perfect 14 on Amazon Plus. I don't know, it was just there. I watched it and I sat there and watched the whole thing. I don't know what it is, it's weird. But when it comes to stuff like this, I always watch like growing up I was always a fan of America's Next Top Model. I think it's because I like seeing women. Maybe because that's my attraction to women. And something about the fashion industry, even though I'm not a fashion person, knowing some it's something about that industry that always interests me. Even though I'm not the flashiest dresser or the the top the best dressed nigga in a in ever. Not never in my life where I was like the best dressed nigga in the fucking place. But even though it's like for some reason the fashion industry always interests me in some way or another. With that being said, um, it was something about it, and I watched it, and it was about plus size models and how they gone through the industry, and then how they showed discrimination and all the other stuff, and now that in this day and era is like we're living in a more body positivity and a lot of more body plus size bottles are like more accepted now. So you're seeing that, and which is cool. I just always said this, which is cool. One thing I've always, and a lot of people are not gonna like this, but I've always respected about the model industry or the fashion industry is very honest about their fucking well doing, and they kind of you know touched on that in the fucking in the documentary. It's like, yeah, when you see some of these celebrities and like they're like a size 6 or size like 2 or size 6, yeah, a lot of people want to see they don't want to really see a regular person. They don't want to see a person they relate to. Some of these magazines, they want to see a person like um someone as like a superhero or a supermodel. That's why they call them supermodels and all that other stuff. And we are in the business to make money and all that other stuff, which I understand. Because when you see, I'm just saying this from a male point of view. It's like, let's look at the male fitness magazine. It's like everybody you see there got muscles. The muscle fitness magazines, you see a lot of dudes with muscles. Don't matter who they're, black and white. They're in shape. They're in muscles. You never seen a fat dude on a muscle and fitness magazine. You know why? Because the magazine is about muscle and fitness. When you see some of these GQ magazines, you see some of the more handsome men. And you know what? The men, we're okay with it. I've always said this. The men, we're really okay with it. We're not. I think as men, we understand that. Yeah, this is for the beautiful people and all that other stuff. And I think that's the women things between men and women. I'm not saying one is better, one is not, but it seems like men like with laws or order or something like that, or how they do things, we're okay with it unless it's like unless it's really harmful to someone or it's really discriminatory. But discriminatory by race, we're okay with it. But even then, it's like most black people want to start their own anyway. But with women, it's just like they're always inclusive. I feel like a lot of women do push inclusivity more because you want to wear the stuff that other people. Now there are some men that is like, I want to wear some of the Gucci's and the Louis and the stuff like that. But most men, like, I see a lot of men, they're really like start their own. Just like how Jay-Z, instead of wearing the Gucci Louis Pradas, he was starting his own Rockaware, or how P. Diddy started Sean John, or Russell Simmons started Fat Farm, and had Baby Fat for the women and shit. Nelly had Vocal that never sold, but Apple Bottom jeans sold way well. It's like we as men, like, okay, if they're not going to make a lane for us, we're going to put a lane for our own. Which I've always thought that, all right, we get it. All right, so now we're just going to make our own. I've always said, I'm not saying women don't, but I feel like a lot of women, they more or less want to be inclusive to things instead of just like, the whole keep up with the Joneses. You want to be inclusive with the things instead of like creating your own. And this is coming from like what I've seen growing up, and that's why I throw them examples like Rockaway and all that other stuff. Now, with that being said, yeah, now Like a lot of dudes, they're still trying to rock the Gucci and the Louis and the Fendis and all that other stuff. They like the high style fashion. You don't really see a lot of high style fashion for black that are black owned. Or there are a few, but they don't get promoted like the Gucci, Louis, and the Pradas, which I've always had a problem with. It's like going before I start rambling off. The whole boycott Gucci. I didn't have a problem boycotting Gucci, but I felt like nobody promoted some of the black business brands. The high, even now, like we're talking about black owned businesses. It's like it's y'all really promoting these, or y'all getting these black dudes to promote them. It's like because they could be. I've always said our black brands could be just as good as the Gucci, Louis, Pradas. I don't know why we don't promote them as such, but some people probably just look at them as low, not that high fashion like Gucci, Louis, Prada. With that being said, um, one thing about a Perfect 14, I've noticed that they talk to a lot of white models, and this is on me. It make me think like, is this more of a white people problem? Because yes, there were a couple black models that was talked like Lyris Cross, but Lyris Cross was talked to in passing. Like it wasn't like based around them and their lives. You would like to see in this thing, and this is just I don't want to say this is a problem, but it was a nitpick. Like I would like to know some of these like models of color and how they especially because I know they go through some more shit. And in my opinion, the black models are the reason why we have plus size models because some of them are very beautiful, but they're plus size. And the thing is, some of the women like over there, and I say this all the time, plus size models, there's a certain shape that they go for. It's not all. It wasn't until like Lane Bryant when you got women of all shape, or if you're like really beautiful in the face, they kind of like just uh show your face and all that other stuff. If you're like a beautiful plus size model, like they're more or less show like your facial feature, they're more so your body, but not now. Now they're like having big girl plus size wear for people of all shapes or like even like if you're shaped like an egg, because most of the even the plus girl they have curves, and it's just like when you look at them, you thinking, but they're not. Yes, they're bigger, but they're not what you consider like no one's gonna unless you like people like trolls. And this is just me. Is unless you're really a fucking troll. Like most of the women, if you see most of the women in body top, you're like, nothing wrong with that. The average American man is gonna be like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with your body. There's something like that. Some of them, like, yeah, some of them have a little pooch and all that other stuff, but some of them, but most of them is just like, I don't have a problem with that. Even me looking through it, it was like, it's not that bad. Yeah, she was. There was one girl. She was like, "Yeah, people don't look at me as a plus size model, but if you compare me to a skinnier model, yeah." But I was like, "But you're the one." But in this day and age, and maybe because I'm looking at the movie was made in like 2018 or some shit like that. But I've always said in this day and age, a woman would more or less, a man would more or less go for a woman with a little bit of meat on their bones. And a lot of dudes say that, even white people, like, especially the country, I like a girl with a little meat on their bones. It's like not everybody's going to go for the. I mean, if we could get one, we could get one, but nonetheless, not a lot of models, not a lot of men are just going for the super skinny, super skinny ones, unless you're like that real douchebag type of nigga and all that stuff. But the women that was there, it's just like ain't nothing wrong with y'all. Even I said this, even though ones that were like proportionally bigger and ones that shaped like an egg, it's like I seen dudes holler at them type of chicks all the time. And maybe yeah, we're not the super elite, and I'm not saying I'm like the super elite nigga, but like the average American, the average American is really going after those type of women, and I've seen this all the fucking time. It's like you go what you would go for. It's like these are real beautiful women and all that other stuff. They might be not maybe not perfect tens, but they're at least a good quality seven. And like if you have a good quality seven, I think a lot of people will be satisfied with a good quality seven. You can do a lot of things. A seven is not bad. Seven is not like a good quality seven is really not that bad. But what I was saying is, um, as far as the plus size model, and I think I kind of like jumped off of this. Uh, there's a lot of I think a lot of the starts from the plus size model were from black women, and we didn't see I didn't see a lot of black representation of black women in there. I wish they would have like followed the life of some of the black women, like a Lyris Cross, like a Takara, like a I don't know if Ashley Graham is black, but I think she's white. But I know the it shit popped off with. Okay, the first time I remember seeing the first plus size model was Takara, right? And I've always said this, like, because I used to watch America's Next Top Model and all that other stuff. Takara was easily one of my favorites, and I loved watching Takara because Takara had a swagger. And to me, here's one thing: I've always said this: not everybody can be a model, and it's not because of the weight thing. Because I feel like with being a model, you have to have a type of swagger with you that a lot of models represents. Like you know how like Tyra Banks always said, fierce. You have to be fierce when you're doing things. Like one thing the America's Next Top Model showed me, yeah, you can be skinny, yeah, you can be pretty, but if you cannot push this on photography, a lot of people are not going to want you. And I remember, without saying names, because I used to go to the street meet, and there's two women. I'm not gonna say one. She has a little bit more curves, and everybody thinks she's really pretty. And the other one, she used to be big. She lost her weight, but she got a regular person's body. Both beautiful women though in the face. And I've always said this: they're both like strikingly beautiful women when you see them. The one with the curvy one, she can model, but she does basic model shit. But the one with the regular body, I felt like she had a more personality when it comes to it. And I remember when like talking to my homeboys because he was taking pictures of it, and it seems like I'm not gonna. And I told him, and this is conversation. I said I'm not gonna lie. So and so killing is so and so. I feel like models better than so and so is supposed to be a model. I feel like even though she don't do model stuff and she's more introverted, I feel more of a personality out of this one than I do out of her. And I've said this, like, yes, you can be good, you can have a good body, you can have all that. Um, but you how can I say this? But if you ain't got the swagger and all that stuff, I know a lot of people not gonna get you. It's one thing to be a pretty face, but can you project that on photography and all that other stuff? That's why a lot of big girls, like even though they're pretty, like a lot of big girls, especially when they have pretty faces, they know how to push the prettiness of their face and all that stuff more than skinny girls or something like that. Yes, you get them high cheekbones and all that other stuff, but I feel like big girls. I think that's why like people are attracted to Lizzo because Lizzo has this attitude and she knows how to like yes, she got a body shaped like an egg, but as far as like her face and all that other stuff and her swagger in the how she puts in pictures, she does it. She does it really well. And that's one thing I will say about Lizzo. Like she pushes her personality really well in those pictures. Um Takara is another one where I've seen Takara through her pictures and is really like and it's been times where Takara on America's Next Top Model she took better pictures than the ones that were skinnier than her. But since Takara and the reason why she stayed on so long, not because she was big, but even at Takara's biggest, and I think she was at America's Next Top Model, she was at her biggest. Um, Even at the way she was at, she had a more swagger, and she had a bomb ass figure. Like, yeah, she was thicker, but yeah, she also had a bomb ass figure too. It's like niggas would date that, and I've always said this. It's like this. Some of y'all, I say this to the women. It's like, yeah, I'm thinking it mostly. I said, yeah, but niggas will like date you. Like they'll look at you. They're like they'll go for your body type. And this is another thing. I feel like the black industry. I feel like since we don't really go for skinny models, especially like um let's say the girls that's like tone, but you know they're thicker, like the urban models. Even though the ones that don't get the ass shots, like the like a Melissa Ford. Like Melissa Ford was considered as an urban model, but if you ask me, Melissa Ford looked better than a lot of models that they push. But since she's considered an urban model, I don't think she probably get the looks like it's those women, and I feel like us as black people, we like especially like the black men magazines, the Vibe, the Smooths. We've had women like those, like where that's where Drea got her start at. That's where most of these women like you see now, like a Rosa Acosta and all those people like. got to start there, but they was getting to start as urban models, where the tattoos and most of the stuff they had proportionate figures and ass and all that other stuff, and it's just like those were regular to me. Those were the regular women because you could see a lot of women in shape. Like I remember when I was in high school, I seen women have the same shapes as a Melissa Ford. And I know one girl, like it was like my sister's best friend. That girl, ooh, she was thick and all outdoors, but everything was thick in the right places and all that other stuff. And it's just like she used to wear these white sweatpants, and everybody would look. Ass was just out there. It was just bang, it's that bang, that bang. But I've always it's just like when I look at this, I said, is this more of a white people problem? Because I feel like brothers don't have this type of problem with that. It's just like we'll date those. Not only will date them, we'll wife them. Like yeah, and we're even saying like when they say I feel fat and all that stuff, we'll be the ones that tell you, nah, you look good, baby. Nah, you look good. You look beautiful. You look great. All this stuff. It's like even if they lose the weight, we'll support them losing the weight. But at their size, it's like I've seen women date, like I've seen men date women like that all the time. Matter of fact, when I was at a convention, there was dudes that was in shape, like muscles and like six packs and all that other stuff, and their girlfriends were plus size women, like some of them like different oddly shapes. And I've been saying this to people, like, I don't know. Look, I don't know where like this body shaming thing came from. It had to be coming from white people because black men is just like we'll date those. If you have a little pooch, we ain't have a problem with that. It's I've always seen this. With black men, we don't really have that much problem with the pooch. Like, um, you ain't got to be a like. We'll tell you, you ain't got to be a size two. It's like, or like even in our songs, it's just like thicker than a snicker came from us, or Sir Mr. Lux baby got back is just like I like them round and juicy. Like like we've always promoted like because we understand that like yes, our women are like proportionally thicker than most of the white women are, but they're still healthy. And that's why I feel like when you see them body charts and the healthy charts, or even the Samoan women, is like they're a little, even though Samoans women are a little thicker, they're healthy because the Samoan men, yes, they're bigger, but they're more healthy. There's like they can carry the weight. And there's a lot of women on there that, even on the documentary, Perfect 14, there's a lot of women that yeah they're bigger but they can carry the weight. It's like they're not sloppy. No, no, no. Even the Lane Bryant, even I said this, even the Lane Bryant commercial is like I'm no angel. A lot of those women, yes, yes, were they thicker? Yes, were they plus size? Yes, but they all held the weight proportionally well. It's not like no one's like really calling them. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that somebody will call them fat, or like you can use a salad. But I'm like the average American, they'll look at that. It's like, okay, that's what my girl look like. So I already got that. And some of them women is like, yes, some of them are 200 pounds, but some of them are whole weight. It's like even in the plus size model, I feel like okay, they're not being totally honest because a lot of them they're not showing like with fucking overlapping guts or you don't have them. None of them look like Monique before diet or Monique before before the weight loss, or none of them look like Gabourey Sidibe, where it's just like you're I hate to I just say morbidly obese, or even someone like a Lizzo. Like they don't look like that. Like none of them Lane Bryant girls looked like the Lizzo. And I'll say that, but I mean, that's I don't know, but I always feel like it might be a white people problem because I know white people when some of their women, especially in the '80s, they was like crackhead skinny, and we'll say it, crackhead skinny. They didn't like they're more or less a straight line, and I know a lot of like model designers, and they say there's a lot of straight lines. I remember when I went to when I was on deployment in the Navy, like they didn't like even though I wasn't big like as I am now, I was like at least a good 190. Like they didn't have a lot of clothes in my size either because but when you see a lot of them at their dudes, they're skinnier. But I wasn't fat, but I was just like a little stocky. I don't want to say, but I wasn't fat. Like I was still in shape. I was still in shape. It was just I wasn't fat. But even then, they didn't have clothes in my size, or they didn't have stuff for like people that worked out and all that stuff. A lot of those, like they were real tight, like really, really fucking tight. So, um, it goes to show you, like, Americans, as far as American goes, yes, we are like proportionally bigger. Our food portions are bigger, and because I noticed that when I was eating, like, our food portions are bigger. We use a lot more salt, and a lot more salt in our food. A lot of flavor in our food and all that other stuff. So, like, it's going to make us normally bigger. So you have to, like, conduct with the size because the way we fucking eat sometimes. So I've always noticed that. What else about this? So that's just, I was like, one thing, it was sweet, that girl Ellie, like, rest in peace, because, like, she was like, when I saw her, I was like, she was really pretty. She looked like she looks like Jennifer Lawrence, and I guess a thicker Jennifer Lawrence. It was like, any dude would like to have you. It's just I also, like, kind of want to show their dating life, because I understand, like, some plus size. Oh yeah, this is one thing I wanted to hit on too. Um, it shows that, okay, Lane Bryant, I would salute Lane Bryant, because you knew there was an avenue that, there are blessed size women that, they'll spend the money and all that other stuff. And I know there was this, I don't remember her name, but there was this black woman saying, "Oh no, it's not elitism, it's ignorance." And I'm thinking, no, it's elitism. It's straight up elitism. Because even if you was black, they wouldn't want you wearing them. And some of these model designers, they've shown that too. Um, yes, I don't care if you do have the money to spend. Like, if they feel like you don't belong, you're not the type of person that they want wearing their clothes, they're not going to sell them to you. I don't care if you have the money or not. And a lot of people say, "Oh no, that's ignorant." I said, yeah, it's ignorant, but like I said, at least they're upfront with it. It's like, I don't want this person, but I've always said this: when you know they're ignorant, why do you want to sell there? Why do you still want to buy there? So either you're going to fit into what their demographic is, or you're going to go to someone else. And a lot of people, I feel like this is where, like I said, a lot of men and women is like, "Oh, if you're not going to fit me here, I'm just going to make my own." Like, I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with an Ashley Stewart. Ashley Stewart makes great clothes. It's like, and they do make clothes for, like, plus size women and all that other stuff. Can you rock that shit though? It's like, you can rock an Ashley Stewart, still look good. It's like, Miss I know a lot of, like, big girls. They get a lot of stuff custom made. I don't know a lot of big girl fashion designers, but I know Ashley Stewart is one of them. Like, Ashley Stewart has great clothes for women. It's just like, you don't have to go to the Gucci, Louis, and Pradas and all that other stuff. You can go to Ashley Stewart, get a nice ass dress, and look just as good, and even if you're curvier than, the skinny models and all that other stuff. It's like, go there, or, make your own design, because they was talking about that, how, like, it's like, it was, the plus size movement is more grassroots and all that other stuff, body acceptance and all that other stuff. It's just like, um I was like, y'all should have been doing this. To me, it's just like, y'all should have been doing this. Should have. This always. I guess that's why they had the plus models. But to me, it was just like, you should have been doing this for yourself, or people just like you, or it's just, I don't see any from this. So I said, fuck it, I'll make my own and have people come to me and make my own money. So, like I said, a lot of those big old fashioned people, they do want a certain demographic wearing it. That's why you see them. Like, if you see, like, a chiseled white man in a Mercedes in a nice looking car, even chiseled black men, like, they go in these nice cars, they get these, like, good looking in shape, because they're selling it to the beautiful people. That's what they're selling it to. You don't see Rick Ross even though Rick Ross made like four or five Maybach songs, right? I have never seen Rick Ross in a Maybach commercial. Rick Ross should be the only one promoting Maybachs. But for one, I've never seen a Maybach commercial. Two, I've never seen Rick Ross. I don't think, even though Rick Ross have like 4 or 5 Maybach songs, you don't see Rick Ross in there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if another thing has always been, like, creating our own. It's like, if you feel like there's not an avenue for black models, you make some for black models. Or if you, like, promote a model for more plus size models, which I think Jag was, because I think the girl Ellie, she was signed to Jag before she died. They have these dresses for plus size models and all that stuff. If you are a designer and you want to make something, instead of just, like, trying to work for Gucci, you can make your own designs that you feel like that could compete with the Gucci's, you would do that. I feel like a lot of people would do that, and that's what it did, and that's why I was like, okay, that's cool. I've said as all that's cool. In conclusion, the documentary was very cool. I just wish it talked to more women of color, especially black women, because Lyrics Cross said one thing is like, okay, one thing I'm being black, one thing I'm being a model, and then being a plus size model is harder. Being a plus size woman of color makes it 100 times harder. Okay, what about her struggle? You at least showed a black woman struggle in there, and that's just me. I would have loved to see a black woman struggle in there because I know if she wasn't doing these modeling things, they would probably look. And that's another thing I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about is like some of these black women that you know they could they're either labeled as urban models or they barely make Victoria's Secret. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're a little more, they have a little more curves and shape. They're kind of labeled as urban models, not even plus size models. They're urban models, and I feel like that's another uh lane that a lot of people like don't really go across and all that other stuff. Because like yes, most of those plus models were white, and it's just like where most of the black. Because I know some of the black models started the plus size model movement. It was like, or at least they're ahead of it. I know, like I said, I know like Ashley Graham was the one. I feel like Ashley Graham was the one that popped off this plus model thing, but I feel like some of the forerunners were black women, and that's just my opinion. Like I said, I'm not knowledgeable on the fashion industry and all that other stuff, but I would say like the first few models I've seen were black, and they was the ones looking real good. So shout out to Takara and people like Takara and the Lyrics Cross is like doing the thing. So that's my view. I would say like if you're into fashion, you should watch it. If you like fashion documentaries, I just like I think I like documentaries. That's why I watched it. As far as documentary, it was a cool documentary. It was edited well. It was shot well. I liked all the edits in it. It was really good. It's something I feel like people could sit down and watch. So with that, watch it Perfect Forte. I think you won't be disappointed in watching that. So whoever did the editing and all that stuff, good job. And let me know what y'all think. Am I right about did I get it right on anything? Because I don't think I dissed a lot of big women in this rant, but I'm just like gave my personal opinion on it. But let me know what y'all think. Today, my name is Oskino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.